Welcome back to the mid-morning show with myself, Nafisa Dango. And we're definitely talking about upliftment, empowerment, sustainability. And it also comes from you yourself. And I have a phenomenal gentleman on air with me today who's going to be telling us their story about uplifting themselves, coming out of the rural area in KwaZulu-Natal. Sithembiso grew up there, and not many people in that particular area actually make it past high school. And he's one of the first generation of his family to actually go to university and graduate with a nursing degree from the University of the Western Cape. And he's going to be penning out his phenomenal story about how he's uplifted himself out of that situation that he was in and to where he is today. A very warm welcome to you, Sithembiso. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning.
Oh, thanks a lot, and thanks for having me on the show as well.
It's always an inspiration speaking to people like yourselves that have not allowed, should we say, the challenges that we face to hold us back from moving into the spaces and places that we actually want to be in. So we firstly want to commend you on it, an absolute phenomenal, should we say, accolade, and we want to congratulate you for it. I'm actually blown away by your story. I think it's absolutely amazing. Talk to us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, the situation you found yourself in.
Okay, I'm from KZN, Devon, in a small township called Efolweni. It's a very sort of like a low class or middle class sort of a township. It's very small, and I grew up there. Lower primary, I did there up until I went to university at a very young age. At 17 years old, I had to go and study nursing at Western Cape. I was very young, as you all know. When you're very young, obviously there's high risk of you getting involved in wrong things, and you're not at home. The guidance of parents, you're exposed, and you have to now be in charge of your own life. And for me, it was a whole new experience as well. Which that led me into getting into, mixing up with wrong friends and all that, getting into mischief, doing all these things that are wrong, which led me to failing my second year in nursing twice, and ended up me being expelled at the university, which I had to appeal, and then they did accept me, and then which I ended up finishing nursing degree and worked for a few years. And then I got tired, and then I decided to do podiatry because I was under a lot of pressure in terms of the workload in hospitals, lack of equipment. The effort that you put in as nurses, I really, really recommend it, and I highly, highly appreciate it. And it's a pity that our government doesn't meet us halfway, but nonetheless, so I got tired of doing nursing, and I ended up pursuing podiatry. And bear in mind that I had to resign from work.
Sure. Let's talk about your area. It's phenomenal to see that you were one of the first out of your generation actually pulling yourself out of that particular space. Paint us the picture about your area. What are people in that area facing at this moment as far as education is concerned? Because, as we know, with yourself, education is empowerment is sustainability.
True. The area that I'm from, it's a sort of like a semi-rural, if I may put it that way. Also, our youth, the thing that is facing is drugs, especially what we call Wunga. They're so into Wunga, and some of them, they don't even get to finish school. If they are lucky enough, they will finish matric, but it's a very, very, it's not a nice environment to be growing up in, because you don't have role models around you that are going to mold you, and guide you into, people that you look up to say, when I'm done, I want to be that person and all that. So in a way, we lacked mentors, we lacked, they say environment plays a huge role in your behavior. So I was like in a sense, so I was like in a sense that I didn't succumb to the environment I was in, I consider myself very lucky in that sense.
What made you stay so strong? Because a lot of the people, I mean, young people around you, are probably facing that same challenge in your area. To say that they instead succumbing to all those negatives that are around them, and not moving them out of that spaces to say, let me go and change my life for the better. Let me go and find those opportunities that you found. What was it that made you realize that you need to do that, and what gave you the drive to be actually move yourself forward? How did you manage to do that?
I think it's all about seeing your parent struggling, and also wanting to break that cycle, and also wanting to be the regime change at home, like to change the things at home, change the situation at home. So you always have that thing at the back of your mind to say, you know what, I want to break this cycle of,
Mm,
poverty. I want to, the next generation must, have the solid foundation, that is going to sustain the family and uphold the family name and all that. So I think that's what kept me going, and the support that I've been getting from my family as well. And yeah, I think that's what kept me going. And yeah.
I think support structure is important, and I so agree with you there. Your story is so inspirational. Tell us about how you had to fight to obtain your degree, and what it took for you to actually reach there. Because I mean, as you said, with the nursing field, you found it very difficult. You did not find the support structures you were looking for, and of course, it being very difficult, you had to find a way to pay for your studies.
True, true, true. Because when I resigned from nursing in pursuit of doing podiatry, at the back of my mind, I thought that I was gonna be like use NSFAS or probably get a bursary. And it's a pity that when I was doing nursing, I was using like NSFAS. So when I was pursuing podiatry, they were like, "No, we can't find you twice. So we can't like find you for 2 degrees. You have to be like you'll find yourself." And also, what makes it worse is that our field is very scarce field, and there are not even a lot of bursaries in our field. So I only found that when I've already registered at the university, because when I got there, they were like, "No, you need to pay a registration fee," which was
Mm,
also expensive. So I
mm,
had to
mm,
borrow money, ask around, borrow money for the registration, which I managed to get. And then I did manage to register, did my first year. I managed to pass. And also, my struggle was like day to day expenses as well, because I'm no longer working. And I can't also ask for money at home, because at that time, my father, like, recently got retrenched at work. So my mother, that side, was only the breadwinner, that side. So I had to stand
mm,
up and, trying to find a way to hustle. And
mm.
luckily, I met a friend of mine that side in Joburg when we were studying together. And this
Mhm.
guy knew how to sew, sewing machine. We had this sewing machine that we bought. And also at Rest, I used to sell like sweets at a mini tech shop there at Rest, because there was only a garage nearby our Rest. So they were complaining that it's expensive there. So I saw that as an opportunity. I started selling at Rest, and with a little bit of sewing on the side. So I will come back from campus, do
Mhm.
student pens like patches if they want to, or they need the pens to be altered and stuff like that. So we did that, and also with the shop on our side, selling cigarettes for students, uh, sweets, all those things. That's what kept me going in terms of like day-to-day expenses. That business was also keeping me alive. But the
Mhm. Mhm.
downfall of that was that there was less sleep, because these people will come at any time, and that the orders are too many and you have to study on the side. So I used to put the sweet next to me, everything next to me, the machine there in front, the books at the center. So whenever there's nothing, I'll
So,
study, and then yeah. So I was
so you
juggling
were
around everything.
you were hustling and studying at the same time. That's what it
True,
was.
true. Yeah, 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 yeah.
which which I think
Yeah.
is commendable, because it goes to show that you have the resilience in you to say that irrespective of what challenges I'm going through, I'm still going to fight for what I want in a good way. I'm going to stand strong and I'm going to stand steadfast, and I'm going to overcome these things by doing this. And it's nice to see that you decided to empower yourself in some way by opening up that little shop, defining the need that was there, and taking the opportunity into your hands to say that there's a need here. And so let me take advantage of that opportunity and start doing something for myself. So you were not just sitting there waiting for those handouts. You actually took the opportunity to try and help yourself, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. So we need to commend you on that. Also, let's talk about the moment you were kicked out of Rhodes. What was that experience like for you? It must have been very difficult.
Trust me, it was the most challenging situation that I've ever faced in my life, because it also happened at a time when we were busy with exams. I remember, because it happened when I was doing my second year, because that's when like I was owing a lot of fees, so they couldn't allow me to stay at rest. So when it
Right.
happened, they kicked me out because I was owing, so I had to go and look for a place to stay. And also bearing in mind that there was no one at home. I mean, I didn't have any relatives around Joburg
Right.
except for a few friends. And then one of my friends also assisted me in trying to get a room around Soweto, because that's where they said like room are pretty much reasonable and stuff. So I had to go there, look for a room, and I got a back room then Soweto, close to Maponya Mall in Klipspruit. But the room was not fully finished. It was just an empty room. Bearing in mind, I don't have a bed, I don't have like a stove, I don't have the basic, stuff that you need in order, to start, and I don't even have access to internet in that room. So it was difficult. Also, whenever I needed to download things like stuff, notes, slides, Google search things, research, I needed like to go to campus for that. And also to study, I needed to go to campus because, in an environment where people are not studying, they don't care whether when you are studying or not. They'll do their own things, noise levels, everything. So, and also the room that I was staying in, it was not like a proper room, because it was just when it was raining, the room was leaking. It was not fully,
Oh no.
yeah, it was leaking, and I had to move around when it's raining and stuff.
Sure.
It was really bad.
So, what kept you motivated during this time? It's so difficult. I mean, what you're explaining to me sounds like not just one challenge. There were so many things happening around you at that point in time. And so, what was it that motivated you to say, irrespective of what's happening around me and these challenges that I'm facing, I'm still going to overcome this and I'm still going to move forward and do what it is that I want?
At some point, I used to laugh to my friend. I was like, guys, what am I doing here? Considering the challenges that I'm facing, what am I doing here? But all this all boils down to owning up to the decision you took. I mean,
Mm,
because this is the,
mm,
the decision I took for myself, and I had to own up and try and make things work and keep grinding. So that's what kept me going, to say, what, as much as I'm facing all these challenges, but I will rise above them, against all odds. Though sometimes
mm,
it may seem, bleak and all that, but I was like, you know what, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I must just keep pushing, because the only thing in my hope was like, even if I'm financially owing the school, but I need to be academically,
mm.
correct, in terms of like I needed to do well academically, so that they don't have a point to exclude me academically. At least they can exclude me financially, but not academically.
Mm, mm. So I
Yes.
see that, yeah. And it took, I'm sure, a lot of positivity and resilience to tell yourself that, you know what, irrespective, I'm still going to move forward and I'm going to overcome this. What is the way forward for Sithembiso now? What else is on the cards for you? Sithembiso, you've been doing a lot of things, and I want to commend you on the accolades that you have on your plate at the moment. But
Yeah.
what can we see in the future?
What would you expect or see in the future on my side is that I'm planning to, because I've already had a practice now here at Isipingo in Durban, which I
Wow.
open in May that third. Yeah, so currently I have that practice, but the plan obviously is to expand maybe to other provinces as well, and put my name out there and create a brand for myself that will serve the upcoming generation for my family, because that's the thing. I want to create that empire for my family and my children. So for now is to uh, probably create more practice for myself, have a good brand for myself, and also probably in the near future open a podiatry hospital that is going to strictly focus on the lower limb and the foot itself. That is strictly my dream, to have my own hospital that is strictly cater for the lower limb.
Right. Congratulations. I mean, I think you've done phenomenal thus far to be able to open your own place. And then I'm hoping that all of that other things can come to fruition for you. But let's talk about, go a little bit back and talk about your area. You're
Yeah.
definitely a role model to all the other young people that are in your area. What is it that you would like them to know as far as moving forward is concerned and overcoming that issues that they're facing, all those negativities in their area? What would you like to tell them?
I will just say they need to be very strong. They need to be very mentally fit, and then not allow the environment to dictate their behavior, or sort of like, be influenced by the environment that they are in. And also they need to find themselves, do introspection, and also look at what they're good at, because we need to be realistic. Not everyone will succeed through education. So if you've got a talent or anything, focus on it, practice, get better at it, and be good to it and be excellent, so that you find your path, because we all got different paths in this world. So just find what you're passionate about, focus on it, put your 100% effort on it. Definitely something will pay up, because in the environment, the nature will meet you halfway.
Most definitely. Have you created some form of a support structure in your area? Do you intend doing something like that?
Oh yes, yes, yes. I'm very passionate about the youth. I think in the long run, I will have to create something, but that is in line. That's a long-term plan, though, to actually have something that will encourage the youth and keep them off the streets or something like that. That will offer like also some mentorship of some sort as to how to juggle through life, and be a responsible adult or
Most
teenager.
definitely. It's basically helping them also find their directions and their paths, like you said.
Yes.
Definitely, especially facing difficult situations like this, when we see people like yourself that have actually, from your success story, I think is phenomenal, because from where you started to where you are today already says enough to those young people in your area that if you can do it, so can they. They can also find what it is that they're good at and move themselves out of those spaces. But also, I think it's nice to see that you are creating some form of a support structure. Maybe if you can just direct them in some way when you see them failing and falling.
True, true, true. There are a lot of organizations also out there who are willing to help as well, depending on what problem do you have. Because the problem that we're currently facing in our community is the drug abuse, especially Wunga. It's so sad seeing our fellow young brothers and sisters, being, addicted to Wunga and doing, it's heartbreaking. But it's something that we need to work on and find a way to work around it, because, I mean, this is our
Would
future president, future,
Yeah.
people that are
Would
going to
you
be
would you say that attention needs to be brought to the area of Wunga, because a lot of the rural areas on a whole have not been given enough attention from
Mm,
community level right through to government to say,
mm,
let us look at these different townships and define the types of challenges they're facing and try and help them in some way. And I think that if had you had that when you were younger, it would have helped you in many directions, because you would have had the support structures that you were looking for then.
Yeah, true, true, true. That's why now I say it's very fundamental that we get that structure at a very, very young age, so that you don't find yourself being caught up in you being active, I mean, being addicted to this kind of drugs. Because I can tell you now, it's very, very, very difficult to come out of that, addiction. You need a very, very strong support system and a lot of introspection as well to the person that is addicted. But definitely sure, if you can get the support early and intervene early and have a proper plan as to how do we take someone out of that addiction of Wunga, I think that will
Mm.
go a long, long, long way in saving our youth.
Sithembiso, what would you say? How would you help these people out? Do you think educating the parents is also equally as important as just trying to only help the children? Because it starts with the parents. I mean, if the parents learn certain ways to deal with particular issues and challenges that they are facing and create that support structure for their kids, do you think that will make a difference in your area?
Yes, yes, it will make a huge difference. Also, the parents, if they can get taught on how to deal with such, teenagers early and how to have that parenting skills, because parenting, there's no textbook for parenting. It's something that you learn as you go along. And also,
That's
we
very
have
true.
and also we've got this problem of female heading the households, no absent fathers and all that. So we also need that because in all of families there are no father figures and all that. Because they
Mm,
also the fathers they've got a big role to play in also, in terms of the
mm,
child's behavior. Because that may be a reflection that maybe this also children they're coming from dysfunctional families. So maybe they feel neglected or the parents have divorced and everything. So we needed to look at this holistically. We can't just look
yes.
at it a narrow
I,
aspect.
I so agree with you, and I'm sure it's your situation also affected you holistically, and that's when you decided your realization came in, and you needed to step up and just find your way, irrespective of the paths, and should we say the
Mm,
little trials and tribulations that were coming and being
mm,
thrown at you, irrespective. It was that resilience that brought you out of it. But like you say,
yeah,
it's about creating education and awareness about the substance abuse in your area.
mm,
What
mm.
message would you like to leave for the young people who are currently facing similar trials and tribulations?
I will just say that not every closed door is locked.
Mm,
So meaning that you need to tap into any space that you are in and try to be strong and follow your dreams and be strong. And life is like a sliding door in a mall. When you're
mm.
about to enter the mall, they sense the movement. So the doors just open for you. So now if you good at something or you put your 100% effort, the nature and God, everything will automatically meet you halfway, just like the sliding door of the mall, where they sense the movement. Whenever you come toward the sliding door, it's just open for you. So what I would say to the youth is that please
That's so
follow your
true.
passion, follow your dream. Anything is possible in this world.
True. Unless you put your mind to it, because it's all about
True,
mindset. That's what it's
true,
about.
true, true. Yes, yes.
Mm. What message would you like to leave us with this morning before you go?
God is good. I'm a,
He
I'm a
always
living,
is.
yes, I'm a living testimony of that. I mean, he's been good to me. Sometimes I will have moment of like wanting to give up during my journey, but I kept going because this was for me a journey of 1,000 miles. But I started with the first step. I know it's
Mm,
always difficult to take that first step. Trust me, it's always difficult. Even me, when I had to resign, I think it took me a few months to actually, submit that resignation letter. But when I look back, it was worthwhile.
mm.
So please, people, follow your dream. Anything is possible. Yeah, the support structure is very important. Getting a mentor, someone that is, senior to that field or has expertise in that field. Seek advice and be you and do good and stay blessed.
Thank you so much. That was so inspirational. We want to, from myself and the team, we firstly want to congratulate you on everything that you've achieved thus far. I think it's absolutely phenomenal to see the type of positivity that you've had in order to be able to get yourself into a better space and a better place. We always talk about that on our show. And we wish you nothing but the best going forward. And thank you so much for giving us your time this morning.
Thank you and thanks for having me. Thank you,
God,
thank you.
God bless and take care.
You too, hey? Thanks.
Thanks. Bye
Bye.
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 Sithembiso Khwela giving us his inspirational version of how he got over himself and the trials and tribulations from a small little area in KwaZulu Natal. And today he's a podiatrist and looking forward to opening up something even bigger after that. So we'll be following his story at some point. Thank you for joining us on this mid morning show to be able to inspire you with stories like this. But do stay with us because we have something really great after the break.